On this episode of RevHang, Ben and I review the first half of the Formula One season. Let's do it. Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of this episode of RevHang. If you missed part 1 and want to listen to us talk about the myriad of IMSA, IndyCar, and MotoGP races that have happened over the past few weeks, then make sure to go check that out. I'm your host, Nathan Nevue, and alongside me today is my fellow citizen of Earth and co-host, Ben Bagley. How's it going, Ben?
Oh, pretty good. I just finished up recording an episode of a podcast I'm on, so I'm excited for this.
Oh yeah? No kid, me too. That's wild.
Crazy. Small world.
Alrighty. So, part 2, Formula One. This is our bread and butter, our favorite stuff. So let's get into it. This is just going to be a mid-season review episode. There's no racing per se to talk about, but we've got a lot of movement in terms of the silly season. We'll go over the championship standings briefly, and then we'll go into some mid-season predictions that I think will be pretty fun.
Oh boy, okay.
Alrighty. So, silly season. Everything kicked off after the last race in Hungary. For those who don't know, silly season is the term that has been given to, I guess, the musical chairs that is the F1 paddock in terms of who gets what seat. Basically, when someone says silly season, they're referring to the driver market and all the changes that are happening there. You'll kind of see what that means. So, what we know so far, for a fact, is that Sebastian Vettel is retiring at the end of this season, and Fernando Alonso is going to replace him at Aston Martin, and Alex Albon has re-signed with Williams for another year.
Yeah, so take everything we've ever speculated in past episodes and throw it out.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. With Alonso going to Aston Martin, I think, so we knew that Vettel was retiring when we recorded our last episode, and so we went over who we thought was going to replace him at Aston Martin, and we listed off like 6 to 8 drivers.
A whole bunch.
It was a bunch of drivers that I thought had a good shot, and it ended up not being any of them.
Alonso leaving a solid midfield team to join a backmarker was not something I ever expected.
Yeah, he kind of shocked the world with that announcement. It's kind of an interesting deal. I understand why he did it, because Alpine was not going to give Alonso a guaranteed multi-year deal. From what I understand, they were offering him a 1-year contract with, it was basically a 1+1+1, so he would continue to get deals and extensions as long as he kept performing. But that's not what he wanted. I guess he wanted...
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he wanted a contract where he got at least 2 years with then options for more, which is what he got at Aston Martin. I believe he got a 2+1 deal, so he got 2 years guaranteed and then 1 if he wants to, and if he keeps performing at Aston Martin's desired level.
What do you think Aston Martin's desired performance level is?
Whatever Stroll's doing.
So it can't be better than Stroll. So as long as he's consistently one place behind Stroll.
Right. Well, I don't know. It's kind of tough because they can't really say he's not performing to their standards if Stroll is still finishing below him, because they're not gonna like, Lawrence Stroll's not gonna talk bad about his son, obviously.
Yeah, he's paying the bills.
So, I have there's no doubt in my mind that Alonso will comprehensively destroy Lance Stroll next season. So, I don't know. I think as long as he's beating Stroll, which I don't see being a problem, I don't think that he'll have any performance-related issues. I do think Aston Martin is going to climb back up into the midfield over the next couple of years. They've got so many high-level staff from like Mercedes and Red Bull. They've got so many people with so much talent in terms of the car development side that I don't see them not turning it around in the next few years. A lot. Also, they're building a new facility with a wind tunnel and all the new state-of-the-art technology that a big F1 team needs. So I think with the completion of that facility, and then just the cohesion of the team getting better, I mean, it's basically a brand new team for all intents and purposes. With everybody working together better over the next couple of years, I think they'll move back up into the midfield. I think this year is kind of just a little setback for them.
Yeah. I hope they get into the midfield.
Yeah, I hope so too. Because I really like Fernando Alonso. And I want to see him still challenging for podiums and stuff.
And, even more important, their cars look pretty cool. I like their paint job.
They do. Their liveries are beautiful. So that's kind of the Alonso to Aston Martin story. The other thing we know for sure is Alex Albon has re-signed with Williams for, I think, just another year. I think it's a good move for Williams, and I don't see any reason for Albon to leave yet. So yeah, like you said, no brainer. Don't think anyone.
What do you think this means for his Red Bull relationships? Do you think this is a sign that he's trying to move out of that pipeline, or is this just kind of something normal that would have happened no matter what?
I don't know. I mean, I think it would have happened no matter what, because there's really not a lot of open spots for him that he would really want to go to, I don't think. Right. I would say he's probably still interested in the Red Bull seat, and he'll probably be driving for that for when Perez retires, or at least leaves Red Bull. I don't know. I don't see him getting the Red Bull seat again with all the young Red Bull sponsored talent coming up through F2. There's already not enough spots in the Red Bull program in F1. Red Bull has 4 seats in F1 essentially, and there's still not enough space for all the talent that they have coming up. So I think, unfortunately, Albon's kind of had his shot with Red Bull, and he's going to have to make waves at another team if he wants to be successful.
Yep.
But yeah, it kind of sucks because he really didn't he got more of a shot than Gasly did, but I mean, he still only had a little over a year worth of driving. And that car, as we know, is very difficult to drive, and only Max really knows how to drive it.
Yep. Yeah, plus it doesn't help that was definitely Lewis Hamilton's phase of gunning for anybody driving a blue, yellow, and red car.
Yeah. He had a couple of podiums taken away from him by Sir Lewis Hamilton himself.
Yeah, but that's racing.
That's how it goes, yep. He had plenty of other opportunities to do stuff that he just didn't quite perform on. So he was dropped. But now he's at Williams, and I think he'll stay at Williams for a while, and I think he's got a pretty decent future there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Williams got a little better in the future too, along with Aston Martin. So I think that's a good move for him and for Williams. It just makes sense for them to re-sign for another year.
Yep.
All right, so now to the fun stuff. What's still speculation as of right now. It
More
is
speculation. Let's go.
It's the 21st of August. So lots of stuff could change in the next couple weeks, and I'm sure it will, as the races start rolling out again. So first big one is Oscar Piastri ditched Alpine and jumped over to McLaren.
This is an absolute butterfly effect after Alonso left Alpine.
Yeah, Alonso, the driver market was pretty closed, and it didn't look like anything interesting or super interesting was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, Alonso moves to Aston Martin, and everything just kicked off after that. So basically, the story here is Alonso moved to Aston Martin, and then I think it was the day after that. Alpine announced Oscar Piastri as their 2023 driver. A couple hours after that announcement, Oscar Piastri tweets that he did not approve that announcement and that he would not be driving for Alpine next year.
Which, big surprise to a lot of people, considering everybody up until then thought that he was, contracted to Alpine.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about that is his contract with Alpine actually expired, or well, basically it was, I don't know the exact wording, I haven't seen the contract, obviously.
And this is all alleged.
This is all pretty, up in the air, not confirmed really, but from what I understand, his contract said that if Alpine had not announced him as their driver for 2023 by July 31st, then Piastri was in his right to go search for other deals. And so this was early August. I think it was like August 3rd or 4th. It was at the very beginning of the month. It was right after that deal kind of broke through, or can't right after that clause in the contract had expired, I guess. That I think Alpine just basically announced it to try and force Piastri's hand as like a power play.
Yep.
Basically saying, oh, there's going to be a lot of embarrassment and PR nightmare if you don't drive for us. And he's like, okay.
This is fine.
This is fine. So yet another lawsuit is now, I'm sure, in the works, involving McLaren, who is, I think, who Piastri is looking to go to. There are talks. Yeah, that was kind of the rumor there, is that Piastri and McLaren are doing business.
Yeah, because what other racing team would ever consider buying out a driver from their contract?
Yeah, I don't know. So basically from reports are saying that Ricciardo was told by high-ups at McLaren that they are going to go with Piastri next year. And so Ricciardo is left here, basically signed on to McLaren, but told he's not going to drive, and so he's demanding a $22 million buyout.
Allegedly,
from the reports that we've heard. Yeah, so McLaren has been the big question mark for the entire season, and it seems like things are finally in motion, but I'm sure things will unfold in the future. I just don't know. There's no way to know how this is all going to go when it comes to lawsuits and stuff.
What a mess. And I'm sure all of this shakes out much simpler than what all the headlines and rumor mill has been letting on, but it is entertaining to watch while it's happening. Yeah,
so for Ricciardo, the big, everyone thinks that he's going to end up at Alpine. So if Ricciardo ended up going back, because he drove for them when they were Renault still, that would be interesting, because he had a couple of podiums with that team.
Yeah, he was really starting to pick up momentum towards the end of his last season with them in 2020.
Yeah, it was looking like he was finally getting his feet under him, and I mean, he performed way better at Renault than he did at McLaren the last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if his chemistry is better with that team, or if they just build cars with a balance that he prefers, because he likes a really unstable car in the rear, so you get lots of oversteer, so you can rotate the car easier. And Lando Norris actually, I think, prefers the opposite, or something like that. I'm sure it's way more complicated than that. But McLaren, it seems, has built their car around Lando's preference, and so Daniel kind of just is driving a car that he doesn't enjoy, from everything we've heard. So hopefully, moving back to an old team where he had success, he'll kind of find that drive again, and perform a little better. But it's all speculation. We don't even know if he's going there yet. Officially, he's still driving for McLaren, and Piastri is driving for Alpine next year, because the announcement has still not been rescinded.
Yep. Yeah, so it's a whole mess, but we'll make sure to keep you guys updated.
Absolutely. Moving on, our next driver on the list is Mick Schumacher. He still has yet to sign with Haas for another year. And at the beginning of the summer break, Günther Steiner said he wasn't too pleased with Schumacher's performance throughout the year, which is fair. I mean, he's getting beat by Kevin Magnussen, not by a ton, but Kevin has been performing better than him, and Kevin was out of F1 for a year, so I don't know. Maybe it might be a little harsh to say that he's not doing too well, but at the same time, he's also destroyed several Haas cars and cost them millions of dollars in repairs.
Yeah, that first half of this season, or rather first third, I guess, it was pretty hairy for him, and I was wondering if he was ever going to kind of get his feet under him. Towards the end, kind of coming up to summer break, he really started figuring it out and actually fighting for points. So at least fresh in my mind, it seemed like he was starting to pick it up. But looking back on that first part of the season, I'm not super surprised that Haas is looking for a little more. But given his progression so far and how he's improved from then, I hope he's able to stay at Haas and we get to see him continue racing, because between him and Piastri, who's a super exciting name, and a couple other young drivers coming up from F2, I don't really know where he goes if he isn't at Haas.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing, is if he doesn't get that Haas seat, I don't know where he's gonna go. He'd probably just drop out, unfortunately, but I think he still has a very good shot at that Haas seat. I think it's just all gonna depend on how he does in the second half of the season. His last 9 races, because his last 2 races have been very good, and then he also had a good performance in Austria.
He even had a good performance in Miami until he slipped up and got a little bit too aggressive with Vettel towards the end.
Yeah, so it's like he's had a couple of moments where he's kind of shined a little bit, but like you said, in the first 6 races or so, he was just crashing constantly.
Yeah, he tore a couple Haas cars in half.
Yeah. So I think, it's going to depend on how he does in the second half of the season. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have that Haas seat confirmed until after the season's over. That would not surprise me if we went all the way to the end and we're still questioning who's going to get that seat.
Yep.
Another big question.
Although, if you want to compare him to Yuki Tsunoda, who is also a rookie who came in the same year as him, he technically is higher up in the championship standings by 1 point. That's not speaking of AlphaTauri's reliability problems or anything like that. But, Tsunoda doesn't really have any confirmed place either, so...
Yeah, Tsunoda's not confirmed. I think he'll probably get another year at AlphaTauri. He's definitely been better this year than he was last year.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah, by quite a margin. So he's definitely showing signs of improvement. He does have his moments still. I think it's just probably a young driver who hasn't quite got the maturity yet. He took out Gasly, his teammate, in Britain, and then was running a really, really good race in Canada, but put it in the wall on pit exit. Just a couple of moments here and there that still, it's just like, okay, you've had a year and a half to get all these out of your system, so let's not do this anymore.
Yeah, let's start to pick it up.
Right, so again, I think it's going to depend on Tsunoda's performance. I don't think Tsunoda's quite in as much trouble as Schumacher, though.
No, and I don't think Joe is either at Alfa Romeo. I think as a rookie this year, he's actually had a great showing when his car doesn't DNF. I know it's something we poke fun at a lot for Alfa Romeo, that Joe just can't seem to finish a race. But he's shown a lot of promise. I mean, his first race, he scored points.
Yeah. Yeah, Zhou is very, very promising. I could see him having a good future in F1. Just based on what I've seen so far, where, I mean, he's pretty much on pace, or at least close to Bottas in his rookie year, and that's really good. It's just like you said, the reliability, especially on Zhou's car, has been just atrocious, where he cannot finish a race because his car keeps breaking.
Yeah. I mean, compared to Bottas, he's lost 40 points from what seemed to be mostly. I'm sure there was one or two slip ups he had during a couple races, but for the most part, he's been on pace or close to Bottas, but has 40 less points.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think Zhou's going anywhere. I'd be shocked to my foundations if Alfa Romeo dropped Zhou. The only possible candidate for that spot right now is Théo Pourchaire, who is, I think, leading the F2 championship right now. So that's a possibility, but I don't see any reason to get rid of Zhou. When, like, all they would do is cycle somebody out and then get a new rookie in, so they'd have to deal with another rookie in his first season, whereas Zhou already has a year of experience under his belt, so there's really no reason for them to change.
Yeah, and if they don't fix their car's reliability problems, then they're just gonna have the same problem anyways. So
yeah, it won't matter. So that's kind of where Zhou sits. I don't think he's got anything to worry about. And then the person who's got more to worry about than anybody else, Nicholas Latifi.
Go Tiffy.
Go Tiffy. His future at Williams is looking a little grim. His performance has not been up to snuff even for a Williams. He's being beaten by his teammate Alex Albon pretty handily. And then there's a couple of really exciting drivers that are vying for that spot, like Logan Sargent in F2 and Nick DeVries from Formula E. Both drivers are really deserving replacements, and so I think I'd be really surprised if it wasn't Logan Sargent or DeVries in the Williams in 2023.
Yeah, and Logan Sargent would be super cool. I think he'd bring a lot of, not just American money to Williams as an American driver, but, a lot of fans too.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be really good to get another American driver in F1. It's been quite a few years since we've had an American on the grid. So, there'd be another opportunity for us to hear the Star Spangled Banner during the podium ceremony. Unfortunately, he'd be driving for Williams, so the likelihood of that is not too high.
You never know.
Never know.
Maybe they just need an American driver to get them on the podium.
Maybe that's all it is. But all right, so that's kind of the silly season in a nutshell. It's pretty hectic right now. We haven't heard anything actually in the last couple weeks. But when everything kicked off a couple weeks ago, it was just like constant news all the time. So it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out. I really hope Ricciardo doesn't get booted out of F1. That would be super unfortunate. I think he'd go to America if he did. Either IndyCar or NASCAR.
The only thing I would accept is if he went to IndyCar.
Yeah.
Because I think that would actually be kind of awesome.
I could honestly see McLaren swinging a deal with him where they maybe give him a certain amount of money as a buyout for F1, but then cycle him into their IndyCar program, because they're expanding their IndyCar program so fast. Like, even just this year, they've got Pato O'Ward, Felix Rosenqvist. They just signed Alex Rossi for next year, and they're trying to get Alex Palou for next year away from Chip Ganassi, but they're in a lawsuit with that.
Yeah.
So they could easily run 5 cars in IndyCar.
God, that'd be absurd.
Yeah, that'd be wild. All of a sudden, McLaren is like the largest IndyCar team. That'd be pretty crazy. But I think he would enjoy IndyCar. But if he went to America, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried NASCAR out.
Yeah. Which Kimi Räikkönen had his debut again, I guess, Well, I guess this is his first NASCAR Cup race as a rookie in NASCAR at Watkins Glen.
Yeah. I didn't actually catch that. I knew what happened. It was like yesterday, right? I think it was either yesterday or today.
I think it was today.
Might have been today. So
it's like 12 p.m. our time, I think.
Gotcha. So I don't know how he did in there, but I know in practice he was like top 10. So he was driving very quickly for someone who's never really driven a NASCAR before. He has, but like that was 14 years ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Trackhouse is a good solid team to start out racing for too. It's a good jumping off point.
Nice. Yeah, I don't really know too much about NASCAR. It's definitely not my wheelhouse. But maybe I'll start watching it if Kimmy starts putting up good numbers.
Yeah, NASCAR's viewership might get a lot bigger because Daniel Kvyat was also racing the same race.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. Actually, I think I heard that like once a long time ago, but
yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. Got some people jumping over to NASCAR from F1, and I'm sure we'll have some people moving over to IndyCar in the future. I don't know how Formula E is going to do, man. It just seems like it's not getting off the ground like they wanted it to.
No, they keep throwing money at it, and it's...
Yeah, it sucks because it's a cool series, and I like watching the races when I can, but it's hard for them to get TV deals right now because no one watches them. So Formula E is really cool, but it's kind of become a meme in terms of it's the place where F1 rejects go to die, basically.
Yeah.
Or their careers go to die, I should say. So I think it'd be really cool if IndyCar became the place where F1 drivers go after they leave, because I think it's a much larger spectacle, and I think a lot of F1 drivers could make a name for themselves in IndyCar as well.
Yep.
So I think that'd be pretty sick. Just getting a even larger IndyCar field to go through every week.
33 cars on the field. Yep. Short track, Iowa.
There you go.
Nothing bad could happen.
Yeah, last place starts a lap down. But all right, so let's go over championship standings real quick. We'll just go first to last, since it's been a while since we've done that. In first place is Max Verstappen with 258 points. In second place is Charles Leclerc with 178 points. In third place is Perez with 173 points. Fourth and fifth are Russell and Sainz with 158 and 156 points. Sixth place is Lewis Hamilton with 146 points. Seventh is Norris with 76. Eighth is Ocon with 58. Ninth is Bottas with 46. 10th is Alonso with 41. 11 and 12 are Magnussen and Ricciardo with 22 and 19. Gasly and Vettel are tied at 16 points. Gasly is in 13th place and Vettel's in 14th. 15th place is Mick Schumacher with 12 points. 16th is Yuki Tsunoda at 11. And then 17th is Zhou with 5 points. 18th is Stroll with 4 points. 19th is Albon with 3 points. And then we got 20th, last place, well, for the regular drivers, is Nicholas Latifi. Still has yet to put up some points on the board this season. And then finally on 21st place is the stand-in driver Nico Hülkenberg, who did not score any points for Aston Martin during his brief 2-race stint. All right. So the battle for second still pretty heated. Verstappen's almost assuredly going to win the championship.
Yeah, he is flying away with this.
Yeah, he's ahead. What is that? 50...
80 points?
I can't, yeah, that sounds right. I can't math right now.
That's okay.
Yeah, 80 points. So 80 points between first and second, and then there's only 5 points between second and third. And, yeah, so I think second place is still up for grabs with anybody, especially since Leclerc's the one in second and Ferrari's crumbling.
Yeah, I mean, even all the way down to Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's 30-point spread.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mercedes has definitely made a push in the last few races. They're definitely a lot faster than they were at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, so it just comes down to another couple Ferrari races for Ferrari and a couple of good races for Mercedes, and those places could easily be swapped.
Yeah. So, yeah. Lando Norris is way back in 7th place. He's like, 70 points behind Hamilton in 6th. So, it's looking like it's going to be shuffling through 2nd through 6th is going to shuffle around for the rest of the season, I think. And that'll be a fun thing to watch. And then the midfield battle between Alpine and McLaren is also heated up. So for the Constructors' Championship, it's Red Bull in first with 431 points, Ferrari in second with 334 points, Mercedes in third with 304 points. And those are the only teams that are above 100 points right now.
Yeah.
Alpine in fourth has 99 points. McLaren in fifth has 95. Then you drop down to Alfa Romeo in sixth with 51 points. Seventh is Haas with 34 points. Eighth is AlphaTauri with 27. Ninth is Aston Martin with 20. And last in 10th is Williams with 3 points.
Yeah, so if you're Haas, are you thinking that you're going to be able to eclipse Alfa Romeo by the end of the season?
If Schumacher starts to perform better, I think so. Or if the Alfa Romeos stop blowing up every race, then, maybe they'll pull away.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger question is if Zhou starts continually scoring points with a good car, even if Schumacher starts picking it up, I think the team of Zhou and especially Bottas probably will be able to, if not outrace on the track, at least keep up their points differential.
Yeah, I think so. I'd be kind of surprised, if Alfa Romeo was passed by Haas. I think the bottom of the board here will stay about the same. You might get a couple of swaps with maybe Aston Martin might pass AlphaTauri if they have a couple good races. I think the big battles right now are between Alpine and McLaren, who are separated by just 4 points. Then Ferrari and Mercedes at this point.
Ferrari and Mercedes, I guess, too.
Yeah, because Ferrari and Mercedes are 30 points apart, and then Ferrari is 97 points behind Red Bull.
Yeah, although Ferrari's greatest adversary right now is Ferrari.
Yeah, that's very true. So if they can get out of their own way, they can still come... they can still easily come in second. I don't think there's any way they win unless Red Bull just... Man, they would have to take something catastrophic every single race for Red Bull to not win.
Both their drivers have just been pretty consistent throughout the entire season. Very few slip-ups after those first 3 races.
Yeah, no, they've been pretty much perfect since, I'll say, Spain. After Spain, they just have not made very many mistakes. And even in the early season, it wasn't mistakes as much as it was reliability problems that they were able to fix very quickly. So, I don't think Red Bull has anything to worry about. I think Max Verstappen's too far out in front now, and the drivers. And then Perez is only 5 points behind Leclerc, so, another couple good races from Red Bull and bad races from Ferrari, and, there's no way. So that's kind of the championship right now. Red Bull's running away with it. Ferrari has thrown it away with a winning car. And
they're sandbagging for next season.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the Ferrari master plan. Another thing to note is Mattia Binotto does not seem concerned at all. Or at least in interviews
apparently nobody at Ferrari does, aside from the drivers.
Yeah, they're saying, there's not really a problem. It's just how it goes. That's just racing. But, pitting somebody unnecessarily for a third time 2 races in a row is not... I don't know. But if they don't admit to themselves that they have a problem, then it's not going to get better.
This is exactly where we expect it to be.
Yeah.
Ferrari.
All right. So, pit stop championship. Nothing much has changed. It is still very much Perez out in front. In front of Verstappen in second, and then Norris in third. Yuki Tsunoda's kind of the surprise, though. He's in fourth place, ahead of both Ferraris.
Wow.
So, yeah, so the Constructors' Championship for pit stops, it's a little, I'd say, it matters a little more. It's Red Bull in front with 367 points, followed by McLaren with 161, and Ferrari with 151. Sorry, I did not order this, actually. I forgot to resort this. So it's Red Bull in first, and then McLaren in second with 161. AlphaTauri in third with 153. Ferrari in fourth with 151. Then Aston Martin in fifth with 118. Alpine in sixth with 114. Mercedes in seventh with 104. Williams in eighth with 96. Alfa Romeo in ninth with 30. And Haas in last with 17.
Yeah, that explains why Tsunoda appears to be so far up in fourth. He's actually behind Leclerc, Vettel, just Leclerc and Vettel.
Yeah, I'll need to go through and fix that, but I'm glad I at least noticed before we moved past that.
How foolish we would have looked.
Yeah. All right. So that was a little weird, but all right. So mid-season predictions.
Oh boy,
this is gonna be fun. I've got, was it 9 that I've got nine predictions for the remaining 9 races of the season.
Poetic.
Yeah, totally planned out, not an accident. Okay, so our prediction categories. First off, total DNFs. This is all drivers. Doesn't matter which team, just the amount of DNFs combined through the next 9 races.
Does it matter the reason for the DNF, or?
Nope. And
Okay.
I'm not counting one of those like 90% you're still classified, like you have to finish the race on the last lap.
Okay. Are we just gonna go through predictions as the same? Or are we gonna list out the categories first?
We'll just go one by one.
Okay.
So total
Yeah,
DNFs.
so I'm gonna say Alfa Romeo is going to have, let's see, there's 9 races left in the season.
I'm sorry. Let me explain this a little better. I mean the number of DNFs, not the team with the most.
Yeah. But
Gotcha.
I'm calculating. So Alfa Romeo has 9 races left in the season, which means Guan Yu Zhou is going to race 9 more times.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least he's going to try to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say 8 total DNFs. Wait, no, that's just for one team.
Yeah, I'm talking total. All drivers.
Okay, yeah, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll give you some time to think. So with 9 races left, things heating up in the midfield a little bit, but not too much. I'm gonna say 25. 25 DNFs over the next 9 races.
I'm going to hit it a little lower. I'm going to say 18.
18, so 2 per race.
Yep.
All right. Now, the team with the most DNFs. This is what what you were saying before.
Yeah, Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo. I'm going to go with the other one. I'll say Ferrari. Trying to type quietly here for the audience. I'm sorry. All right.
Incredible.
That's not right. There we go. Okay, driver with the most pole positions.
Verstappen.
All right, I'm going to say Leclerc. All right, most consistent driver. So what I mean by this is his finish position. Whose finish position over the next 9 races has like the smallest standard deviation? So
you're gonna make me do statistics?
No,
like
I'm gonna
actual statistics.
No, I've got a link here to a calculator that you just put the finished positions in and it does it all for you. It's really nice and
Thank goodness.
yeah.
I only do fake statistics here. I don't actually do the math.
Yep. So who is most consistently in the same spot in the finishing order?
Let's see. I'm going to have to say Ocon.
Ocon. Okay. I'm gonna say Russell.
Ooh, that's a good one.
All right. Most consistent team. Same thing. The lowest,
Mercedes.
smallest standard deviation. Mercedes. Okay. Who do I think?
Are we
I'm
allowed
gonna
to have
say-
the same prediction, or
Yeah,
is
we
it first
can.
come first serve?
No, we can. That's fine. I'm gonna say Red Bull though. All right. Now we're going the opposite, least consistent driver. So the driver with the largest standard deviation over the next 9 races.
Over the next 9 races, let's see. I'm gonna have to say. I'm gonna say Bottas.
Bottas. Okay, that's a good one. He's been kind of up and down all season. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say Tsunoda for the same reason. All right. Least consistent team.
So the most variation between their finishing points as a team.
Yep.
God, that's a lot harder. You got to think of both drivers.
Yeah, this
now.
one's like the hardest one of all of these, I think.
Yeah. Ferrari.
Ferrari, that's a good one. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about this earlier, and yeah, Ferrari was the one that came to mind because of the amount of DNFs they have.
They have the highest highs, but also just the lowest lows.
Right. Ferrari's so good.
You know you want to put Ferrari.
Yeah, okay, this will be our one. We're both going to say Ferrari for least consistent team, because how could you not? All right.
In the driver.
Fourth place in the Drivers' Championship.
Oh man, that.
Yeah, I tried to make these tough. Because, I mean, first place would be too easy, you know?
Yeah. I'm gonna put Hamilton.
Hamilton fourth? Okay.
Yeah, I think he overtakes Russell, but I don't know if race per race he's gonna be able to catch up to any of the front runners.
Yeah. I'll say Sergio Perez.
What a weird time we live in that I've chosen Hamilton as my pick for fourth in the Drivers' Championship.
Yeah. Alright. Fourth place in the Constructors' Championship.
I think that's going to be Alpine.
Think Alpine's got it?
Alpine gang.
You know, I'm going to say Alpine too, actually, because I don't think Daniel Ricciardo has anything to drive for at McLaren anymore. So I don't think he's
No.
going to be as motivated.
No.
Especially if he gets signed on to Alpine, I don't think he's going to have as much motivation to like push and do well.
Battle him out.
Um,
Yeah, and I don't think Lando's going to be able to carry McLaren against two very consistent drivers in Ocon and Alonso.
yeah, Ocon and Alonso have been so good. I don't think Lando can carry that. Yeah. But, all right. So those are our predictions for the second half of the season. I am excited for our season review episode. We get to talk
That's
about...
going to be...
Yeah. Talk about the predictions we made at the beginning of the season and these ones. And I'm sure we'll have lots of other stuff to talk about. Yeah, we'll talk about some IndyCar stats. We'll go. Oh man, it's gonna be awesome. It's probably gonna be another 2-parter.
Yep. Yeah, in the meantime, I get to go watch the Portland Grand Prix. That's coming up here pretty quick.
Oh, are you going?
Yep. Got my
Awesome.
tickets and everything. I'll be at the chicane.
Oh, that's awesome. Carnival Chicane. Yeah, that's a good one. I thought about going to Portland, but I just started a new job, and taking time off in like the first 2 weeks doesn't seem like a good idea.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, me and a couple buddies from the racing team are going to try to go shove a whole bunch of water bottles into Alexander Rossi's car and see what happens.
Nice. That'll be fun. You'll have to let me know how that goes.
Yeah, that or the other objective is getting a fist fight with Jimmy Johnson.
There you go. That'll be a good one. So did you get the pit pass or?
I didn't get a pit pass, but I got the 3-day pass with the paddock pass.
Oh, awesome. Cool. That's really cool.
So hopefully Jimmy Johnson's going to be a fight on site if I see him in the paddock.
Absolutely. Let me know. Let me know how that goes. Just get it on video.
Not that I dislike the guy. I just kind of want to see what, NASCAR drivers are famously great fighters. So I kind of just want to see what happens.
There you go. Get it on video, and then we'll post it on our website. And
yes,
you can watch
that will
Ben
make us go
fight
famous.
Jimmy Johnson.
I'll make sure to affiliate before I do it.
Exactly. Say
RevHang Media.
Yep, RevHang Media, and then just go tackle him or something. All right. Well, do you have any other words of wisdom for our audience before we sign off? Ben?
Words of advice. Wear your helmet. Yep, we're going with that.
Going with that one. Okay.
Wear a helmet, folks.
All right. Well, that concludes this 2-part episode of RevHang. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. And if you enjoyed it, leave a like or rating or on the platform you listened on. Really helps us out. If you'd like to follow our thoughts and opinions on the motorsport world, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at RevHang Media. If you have any thoughts or questions about racing, or even about us, post a tweet at #RevHangPodcast, and we may feature your question on the next show. We would absolutely love to interact with you guys. You can follow Ben on Instagram at BenjiMeetsWorld, and or myself at 2n_squared. While you're at it, go check out our website, RevHang.com, where you can find a calendar of upcoming races, updated standings for the racing series we talk about, along with our awful predictions for the F1 season. We'll return in a week to talk about the Belgian Grand Prix, but until then, I have been Nathan.
And I've been Ben.
Thanks for hanging out, everybody.
See you guys.